Hi everyone. In this video, we will understand and interpret critical values. Alex, a medical equipment supplier, believes the proportion of clinics adopting new technology is more than 50%. His test statistic is 1.3, and the critical value is 1.645. Is there enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis? We could just compare those two values to answer yes or no, there is sufficient evidence, or there isn't sufficient evidence. However, I think it helps to see why it is that we can or will not be rejecting the null. So I'm going to go ahead and give us a normal curve so that we can visualize where the critical value and the test statistic are landing. Let's also identify the alternative, or the null and the alternative hypotheses, just to verify that everything is as it should be. We're looking at the supplier, Alex, believes that the proportion, so we're discussing proportions. That means that for the alternative, the null and alternative, that we need a p. We're not doing an average, or that would be mu. So in this case, we have p, and his claim, what he believes, is that clinics adopting this new technology is more than 50%. More than is an alternative hypotheses notation. We have either less than, more than, or not equal to, because the null hypothesis needs to have an equal sign in it. And in this case, we need a more than, which is greater than. So we're going to use a greater than sign. And then we were told more than 50%, so it's greater than 0.5, changing it to a decimal, which means the null hypothesis is equals 0.5. Now we can see that this is pointing in the direction of the tail that we need to go to. So it points to the right. You can also think of it because it is greater than falls to the right as well because it's a larger number. So we are looking at a right-tailed test. So we're looking over here. And we were told that the critical value is 1.645. That's a positive number, which means we are looking above, let's go put this right here, 1.645 standard deviations above our proportion in this case, because we're dealing with proportion. And let's go ahead, let's mark in 1, 2, 3 standard deviations. And I'm only going to work on the right because I know we're doing a right-tailed test. And Alex has given us a critical value of 1.645. So this is just above 1.5 standard deviations. So let's see, it's about here. That looks like a little bit more than 1.5. So our critical value, our cutoff, will be right here at 1.645 standard deviations above, because it's a positive value. And we have a test statistic of 1.3. This means that we are 1 and 0.3 standard deviations above. So this is just a little bit below the 1.5. So we have our t value of 1.3 right here, and it is not going beyond our cutoff. So we can say that there is not sufficient evidence to reject the null hypothesis. The test statistic did not exceed the critical value, so it falls in our fail to reject area. And so our answer is that there is not sufficient evidence, and we're all done.